In the past few years, we've witnessed the emergence of powerful motion control peripherals that promise increased immersion through physical gameplay. At the same time, we're not exactly ready to throw away our trusted controllers, especially not when most of these motion control games have not exactly delivered on that promise. So what do we do? Which do we choose, controllers or motion control? Let me ask you a different question. Why should you have to choose? Why can't we, game designers, design our games in such a way that you could have both? That's the revolution we're trying to bring about with Kung Fu Superstar. Let's see how.
Here's Danny on the set of his latest movie, Last Guardian of the Dragon Empire, a martial arts epic set in ancient China. As you can see, I'm currently controlling Danny with my controller. Right stick controls the camera, left stick makes him move. Let's spawn some enemies, extras, and see what happens. Okay, so currently I'm using the arcade control scheme, which allows absolutely anyone, regardless of gaming background or platform they're playing the game on, to have fun with the game in its most basic form. As you can see, I'm using the face buttons to trigger common third-person fighting game actions like light attack, strong attack, block, counter and dodge. The moves you're seeing are still actual martial arts moves generated by our fight choreography engine in a way that keeps the action dramatic and exciting. Right, so let's go in the pause menu of our prototype for a second, and let's assume that I'm more of a hardcore gamer. And as a hardcore gamer, I require a bit more challenge and tactics from my fighting game experience. So I switched the control scheme to simulation controls and jumped back in the game, and now let's see what happens. The game switches to the director's cut mode, and we now have these icons floating around enemies' heads. These represent the fight choreography script for the sequence and show you the martial arts techniques it contains. To pull them off, you mark an enemy and then perform a controller gesture that corresponds to the particular technique. These gestures are designed to match the movements of the hero's body and provide not just an extra level of immersion, but also an extra level of strategy, challenge and tactics, as you now have to think carefully about how to approach the situation and which move to perform on which enemy first. While the director's cut mode gives you a script to follow, the improv mode ramps up the challenge by not showing you technique icons. Here it's up to you to think back to your training and pull off a technique that's appropriate for the situation. Okay, so that's pretty immersive, but what about if I want to step it up a notch? What if I wanted to perform all those cool moves myself instead of just emulating them on the controller? Easy enough, all I have to do is put the controller aside, stand up, and that's it. I'm in the game. I'm physically taking part in the action, performing all these moves myself. No pause menus, no scanning, no calibration. All I have to do is stand up and start fighting. The game adapts to the change in control methods automatically. The engine takes control of the camera and player movement for me and lets me focus on the most important part of the game, the explosive combat action, which is now masterfully directed and delivered by the clever AI algorithms of our fight choreography engine. But let's say I got tired of all this exhausting punching and kicking though, but I'd still like to keep playing this level just to find out what happens next in Danny's story. No problem. I slouch back on my sofa, grab the controller again, and I keep going. Again, seamless transition, no pauses, no frustration.
We've seen some motion control games with controller-based features crowbarred in at the 11th hour, and we've seen some controller games with trivial motion control add-ons. I think it's clear that what we're talking about here is neither of those. We're talking about something that's been designed from the ground up to work equally well with either control option. You're the one who gets to make the final decision on how you want to experience the game, and you get to make that decision whenever you want and as many times as you want.
I think one of the smart things here is to work on a control mechanism that allows players choice. The choice of whether to stand up and go into the action yourself, or the choice of whether to sit down and relax and use a controller. And that's what's so great about today's world. We've got choice and consumers want choice. Sometimes I want to be relaxed, sometimes I want to be energetic. Sometimes I feel so emotional about what's going on screen, I actually want to leap up and take on the bad guys themselves, and other times I want, just want to kick back. And I really love this approach that is being taken.
We're excited to announce that we intend to support the Oculus Rift in our game. Our grand vision is to create the most complete, most immersive and most innovative martial arts combat simulator ever. The second we tried the Rift, we knew it was a device that could really help us achieve that goal. We were already hard at work experimenting with different ideas around Rift support in the game. The prospect of putting you literally in the heat of battle, where you'd have to physically look around to identify threats and take care of them efficiently using your kung fu skills, something that we're really excited about.